Welcome to Paul's Passive House. So as you can see, I've removed the zip sheathing and I'm now going to replace what was fiberglass insulation with mineral wool. This will increase the R value of the wall higher than that of the fiberglass, and it will make it more fire retardant. Now, for those of you that have been following along, you'll know that this is the north side of my addition. Both of these windows that you see here are going to be canceled out. Any good developer, any good designer knows that you shouldn't put windows on the north side of a house, just like you shouldn't put doors on the north side of a house if you can avoid it. For those of you that are wondering, I've gotten most of, if not all of my materials secondhand. I'm always searching on Craigslist and Facebook Marketplace and the different places online where you can buy used items, looking for over-purchases of insulation and siding and so on, and that's where I get all of my materials. This is how I'm able to do so much work on such a tight budget. You'll notice here that I'm filling a gap. There's a significant gap between the joists and the top plate of the wall. That gap is about a ½ inch, so I've decided to use ½ polyiso foam to fill in that gap. This will make the end of the joists even or flush with the top of the wall. Now it's time to install the zip R sheathing where the wall meets the roof. I had to use a different thickness here. This is a 1-inch zip R sheathing. That's only an R3, but the R value isn't as important to me as being airtight. I had to use a thinner zip system sheathing because I'm gonna have to flash the top of the wall there where the gutters will be installed. And I haven't quite figured out how to do that yet. So at this point in the process, I'm just going to take up as little space as possible so that I have a lot of room to do whatever I might need to do in the future. Now that I've finished with the insulation, I can permanently install this sheathing. Taking a good look at the corner there, you'll see that there's 2-inch zip system that I had laying around from a previous project that worked perfectly to take up that space on the corner. Now, I'll use zip flashing, the stretchy kind, to go around that corner and seal that up. I can't tell you how good it feels to hang these sheathing pieces for the last time and to put in the final screws that will hold them in place for the life of the property. Putting them on and taking them off and putting them on again and taking them off again to do this work is such a chore. And there's a lot of personal satisfaction that goes along with hanging these sheathing pieces for the last time. Now, some of you have asked me why I didn't use nails, and actually that would have been much preferred to screws. But my nailer doesn't shoot nails that are long enough to hold up 2.5-inch thick zip R sheathing, so I had to use 4-inch screws for these pieces. If you saw the previous episode, you saw this same process only on the other side of this wall. Right now, what I'm doing is removing as much of the insulation from the attic space as possible. What I don't know at this point in the construction process or the demolition process is that I was going to drop the ceilings inside. That made it a lot easier to work on this property. But for now, I'm convinced that this is a good use of my time. I would later determine that I should not have done this work. It wasn't important for me to vacuum out this insulation at this stage. It was much easier to drop the ceilings and just clean it up from inside. And not only that, it was much cheaper. These shop vac bags that I'm using to collect the insulation are expensive, and they get filled up about one every 45 seconds. That's why I keep going back to the vacuum to adjust it and change out the bags. Part of the reason why you see me trying and failing and trying again and failing again so much is because largely I'm sort of figuring this out as I go along. That's part of the fun. It's also part of the problem with being an amateur. After this process is completed, I'll have the experience I need to move forward with confidence on my next project. But for now, I'm just going to be content with looking like an idiot for most of the videos that you see here. It's time for me to remove this window, and I learned on the last window that it's easier to just cut out the nails with a Sawzall or similar tool, reciprocating saw, than it is to pry them off. Yet again, there I am using the two-hammer technique. You can see it sitting on the bench there. That made it so simple and so easy that I just kept using that technique. Removing sheathing is incredibly difficult, but with the two-hammer technique, it makes it pretty simple. I would say fun, but that really depends on your definition of fun. Anytime I have a hammer in my hand, I'm generally not having fun, but it doesn't have to be misery either. Now, as part of the design process, it's this panel here where the window is that is going to actually be converted into a door. You'll see this process unfold in upcoming videos. For those of you that are wondering, I have turned the power off, and I'm going to be rerouting a lot of these wires through the attic space and back into the wall. But because there's going to be a door here, I have to take all this apart. And I think I'll end the episode here while I'm thoroughly confused, standing around, scratching my head.